Welcome to Indian Wells, California, home of the 2021 Margaritaville USA Pickleball National Championships, presented by Pickleball Central. Join us as the world's best players compete to earn cash prizes and the coveted title of National Champion. This amazing action is brought to you by the City of Indian Wells, Franklin, Vila, Selkirk, Paddle Tech, Rockin' Protein, Takea, Superior Labs, Pro XR Pickleball, Franklin X40, and Margaritaville Pickleball.
The beautiful palm-covered Indian Wells plays host to the 2021 Margaritaville USA Pickleball National Championships. Cameron Irwin alongside Dominic Catalano, and we've seen so much phenomenal play already throughout our coverage, and we're actually jumping into a men's singles match taking place already on championship court number 1. It's Tyson McGuffin versus J.W. Johnson. Game 1 has already taken place, and J.W. Johnson picked up the victory 11-3 over Tyson McGuffin.
He really did. He's picked up where he left off last weekend in Casa Grande, where he took down Zane Navratil in the gold medal match pretty handily, and he's picked up, right where he left off here against Tyson McGuffin, taking game 1 11-3.
And a nice snap off the paddle of J.W. Johnson.
Yeah, and that's what he's done. He's taken control so far against McGuffin. Even though McGuffin's got a 2-point lead here in this second game, he took control in game number 1, and that serve of his has just been lethal.
That ball just wide. You talk about game number 1 as the 3 seed versus the 2 seed faces off against one another. And J.W. Johnson got out to a quick lead. He was up 7-1. Then Tyson kind of inched his way back, 7-3. And then ultimately J.W. closing it out 11-3. So some quick, steady work from the young man of J.W. Johnson.
Yeah, kid very young, a lot of upside. And he's just continuing to get better every day.
Yeah. Little cat and mouse there that time, going to Tyson McGuffin.
Yeah, and he's starting to growl. When Tyson starts to growl, that's when everyone else is in trouble. And it was the same thing. We saw him play Ryan Sherry earlier, and that's how he started and picked himself up.
That was a great deep return there by McGuffin, however, the pop-up after the third.
Yeah, and that's just J.W. Johnson. Watch him close ground and take this ball out of the air. He doesn't let it bounce, and that gives him such a huge advantage, not letting McGuffin set up.
Deep kind of floater serve, and lots of net love for Tyson McGuffin.
Oh, right off the bat right there. I mean, watch this off the net. It hits and comes back and bounces into the net. And that's how much spin was on that ball.
Yeah, there's no getting that. McGuffin is coming alive here in game number 2.
Yeah, again, that's him. He's pumping himself up 4-1 here in game number 2. He did not like the result, obviously, in game number 1, losing by 8, 11-3.
But that's also not that surprising in terms of the game of pickleball. You'll start to see some crazy scores, whether it's 11-3 or 11-1. And next game, it's the other side.
Yes, you're exactly right. You see, you win 11-1, then you lose 11-1, and then it's like a 12-10.
Yeah, absolutely. And even at the highest level, of course, this being men's pro singles, we've had so much fun here at Margaritaville. There's pro mixed doubles happening on the senior pro side as well. I was out on championship court number 3 this morning and got a chance to watch some of those deadly battles take place. Jennifer Dawson, though, how about that senior pro? She's looking for the Triple Crown.
Oh my God, I've watched Jennifer the past 2 days. She is on fire. She has not, I don't know today, I haven't looked at the bracket, all through women's doubles and all through singles, she didn't lose a match. So I don't know how she's doing today if they haven't lost yet.
No, they picked up the win, and I think it was actually in 2 sets as well. So she's continuing, and she's playing so aggressive too. But of course, speaking of aggressive, back out on championship court number 1, J.W. Johnson. He's just so steady. What are some of the improvements you've seen in his game in the past year?
The aggressiveness. Okay. He's really become more aggressive. It's not that he wasn't aggressive, he would play kind of in between. And now, especially in singles, he comes out and is just the aggressor. And that showed again this past weekend and is showing right now today in that 11-3 victory in the first game. And it's his serve. So he's got this almost snap serve, right, where it will be legal. He just has the ball on his fingertips, he snaps it. And so the spin on it is unpredictable, so you don't know. And so he snaps this, and it gave Zane Navratil fits over the weekend.
Well, and that's a great point that you make. It's hard to kind of tell which direction that ball is spinning. And so from a viewer standpoint, too, you see this ball and it doesn't look like it has a ton of pace off of the serve, right? But it's so much so about the spin of the ball, because once it bounces, you don't know what it's going to do.
Exactly. It's like flip a coin. I'm going to choose heads or tails. Am I going left or right?
And good luck.
Yes, exactly.
Well, so far, Tyson McGuffin has figured it out here in game number 2. He's got ball in hand, and he has a 4-point advantage over JW. Crowd starting to fill these stands on championship court number 1.
Cam, we got a nice crowd here so far. I like it.
And that's another interesting thing you watch, and it happens a lot in singles. Sometimes these guys just go straight up and attack right at the body, right in front of them. You saw it there, and it creates the pop-up.
Yep, exactly, and that's probably the best shot because they're not expecting it right at them. But then that sets that up right there, right? So he went at McGuffin, got a higher ball, and then is able to go away and close out.
These guys have the ability to go side to side so well. Their horizontal movement on the court is just phenomenal, especially once they get to that kitchen line. Watch them move. Beautiful placement, Tyson McGuffin.
Yeah, the big finish, and Tyson uses his length. He may not be the tallest guy, but he uses every inch of his body that he's got to reach in and take that ball out of the air and not allow JW to set up.
Sliding and stretching, but not quite enough on it. Side out for JW.
That two-handed backhand from J.W. Johnson's been a weapon of his as of late too. He hits it so well.
Nice deep serve from Tyson McGuffin. Seems like he's just about half a foot, about 6 inches away from that ball, being exactly where he wants it to be.
He's late because he didn't get JW didn't hit a deep return.
So much of the pro singles game is played here at the kitchen line, and it becomes such a cat and mouse game, so much deception taking place. And these two of the best at it. Oh, talk about redirects. Looking for the ATP, but couldn't find it.
I mean, J.W. Johnson almost got there. I mean, he got his pedal on that ball, but just wraps it too much and hits the post.
You know, it's also wild, Dom, to watch how low to the ground these athletes end up playing the ball, because they're chasing so many that so many of us would typically just be like, well, it's a winner. Great job. But they continue to go, and it's just within centimeters of the ground sometimes when they hit it.
Yep. What a return from J.W. Johnson right there. He literally paints that back line and pushes McGuffin a good 5 feet behind the baseline. He ends up hitting that shot.
The return game so critical in the game of pickleball, especially in singles. There's that tough serve you were talking about.
Yeah, McGuffin has handled it a lot better in the second game. In the first game, he did struggle with it just a little. But again, he saw JW maybe 2 weeks ago in California out here, and then now seeing him again.
This time, Tyson McGuffin with a tough serve. Now up 7-2. Oh, and another great drive there off the third.
Yeah, that's a great ball from McGuffin. He keeps it nice and low. JW Johnson has to hit up on that. Just not enough.
Inside out, but that's ultimately what it leads to. You're hitting that inside out forehand on the backhand side. You got a ton of room to work the opposite direction.
Yep.
Tyson McGuffin, a great personality in the game. Always wanted to get the crowd involved.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, and like that's what we love seeing, players like McGuffin coming out here, and he likes to feed off that crowd, right?
Mm-hmm.
JW could care less if there's 1 or 2,000 people in here.
He's going to play the same. He's going to react the same. One of the most competitive in the game, though, I'll tell you that much.
Yes.
There it is. He may not emote it on his face, but he's feeling it. I got a chance to catch up with his mom just a few weeks ago. Julie Johnson, also a great player in her own right. And we were talking about it. She goes, yeah, everyone always talks about how he doesn't show his emotion. She's like, I see it all the time. I said, I think it's one of his strengths.
That's a great job by JW right there. And again, he takes that ball out of the air. If he lets that bounce, McGuffin's in that point. But by him taking that out of the air, McGuffin's still trying to recover.
Well, and that's a great point that you make, too, because it's all about reducing the amount of time your opponent has to get to the ball, right? As
right.
Of course, ooh, nice little cheer going here in championship court number 1. But there's so many different elements, and especially taking the ball out of the air versus off the ground.
Right, exactly, and it's just it's a timing mechanism, and you can't let your opponent, get their timing set or let them set up, and that's what it's all about right there.
Well, and you talk about timing mechanisms. One of the other things is how players are able to hold the ball, right? So holding their paddle as long as possible and then hitting a shot, so it's a little bit more deceptive. Mm-hmm. So maybe not just taking what's given, but kind of creating their own angles.
Right, exactly, and that's what JW does. And two, watch him take a ball out of the air too. He'll take it off his shoe tops and actually shape it, and he'll get some topspin on it, or even on the backhand side, he'll get some topspin on it. It's amazing what he can do with a ball.
Well, he will continue to elevate his game. Just one of the many youngins in the game of pickleball. And yes, that's right. There are a lot of young people playing this sport and playing at an exceptionally high level.
In the same house, his sister Georgia Johnson. Georgia played exceptionally well this past weekend.
Just about 14 or 15 years old, I believe, is Georgia Johnson. Mm-hmm. Tyson McGuffin taking a look at the court, sliding his feet around. It did rain just slightly. Yes, it is possible here in the desert. Shocking, but I
can't believe it.
It drizzled a bit, so especially those lines, you got to be very careful. The court can get a little slick.
Tyson asked JW, is he okay? JW just looked across the court and said, yeah, I'm fine. He never looked at the ground, never moved his foot like if it's slick or anything.
And he's trailing too, yes. Right? Like you'd think.
Like maybe. I'd want to be like, no, I'm not ready.
No, like,
rain delay. Let's go. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Let's slow this momentum, not JW.
No.
A few more drops are falling now.
Great ball by Tyson McGuffin as he goes backhand, forehand side on Johnson.
And barking a bit. You better watch out.
There he comes.
Line 3.
Oh, and there's the reason you like going the inside out forehand is because of that right there. Watch how he shifts over. So hard to tell if he's going cross court. Nope, right up the line.
He leaves his hips open because by leaving his hips open, it looks like he's going to go cross court. And then the last second, he rips that around.
It is game point and make it game 2 for number 2, Tyson McGuffin, which means we're going 3.
Why not? All right, so we're going to go 3 here. When we come back, we'll have that third game from you here from the Margaritaville USA Pickleball National Championships presented by Pickleball Central. Don't go anywhere.
It's time to keep this party rolling. Game number 3 here at the Championship Court 2021 Margaritaville USA Pickleball National Championships. Coming to you live from Indian Wells. It's Tyson McGuffin versus J.W. Johnson. Game 3 just about to get underway. Aha, talk about some ping pong, just a deflection from McGuffin.
What good defense. I mean, this is the ultimate reason why you guys out there play with your paddle up right there. That is absolutely awesome. Paddle up, ready to go.
It was all J.W. Johnson in game number 1. Then the tide turned, Tyson McGuffin stepping up. And right now, he's looking mighty fine, putting one on.
He's got wife Megan right behind him, and he keeps looking at right now every time he gets that point.
1-0.
Did it hit?
Yeah.
I see a fist pump, so he's saying it is.
Yep. As he looks right back at Meg, right on cue again. Dots that baseline.
2-0.
And again, watch how he hits that forehand. Shift into the backhand side.
And finally, Johnson gets it to his actual backhand where he can't run around it. And that's going to be the key to his success right now, is getting to McGuffin's backhand.
That's a great point of analysis, and it'll be interesting to see if he's able to still put that ball that direction, because we did see in game 1, as JW fights this one off. Oh, what a save. But JW started with that same game plan, and it ultimately ends up him being able to make an adjustment mid-game and kind of open some other things up. So it'll be interesting to see how this shifts and changes.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's exactly. There's Meg right there. That's her. Tyson keeps looking back to. That is his support system right now. Wow, what a point here.
Number 1, this ball, I don't even know how that lands in. And how about that slice back again, the opposite direction? These boys are nearly playing the game on the green for the primarity of this point.
Right.
0-2.
Lobbed. Oh, and there's that look. It was a great call, though, trying to take that one out of the air.
Yeah, he tries to get that one out of the air, and unfortunately he's not able to attack it. He's going to try and cut that cross court, but just off the frame of the paddle, as McGuffin will pull the, as we call it, the Marcin Rospetsky, kick the ball all the way back to the fence and the wall and take his time. And
Little gamesmanship.
right.
You got to compete on all phases of this game.
Yeah, and singles, this is just brutal out here for these guys.
Singles a very different beast than the game of doubles in pickleball. Some different strategy definitely taking place, not to mention the fitness required.
Absolutely.
Another good bounce there for J-Dub. A little missed contact. You rarely see him make that error.
Yeah, it's tough. McGuffin makes a great read off the top of the tape, goes really tight to the net cross court, and forces Johnson to run all the way up.
McGuffin taking a towel timeout here. Same thing, both these men have played just one match so far today, this being their second.
Oh, what a ball from McGuffin. I mean, the shape on this ball that he's able to create with that inside out again, Cam, it's JW trying to get to the McGuffin backhand, but can't do it.
So this time he goes the opposite direction. Changes the game.
If he's going to go to the McGuffin forehand, I think he's got to go to the actual forehand side. Don't try and go force yourself to go to the backhand because he's running around and he's able to kind of cut that.
And he did just there, exactly what you're saying. Working that there and does it again, changing the game. It's not working for you, figure something else out. Oh, nice little snap, the roll of the wrist.
Yeah, and I'd rather have Johnson trying to face the McGuffin forehand from the right side of the court rather than him running around it and going inside out. He creates too much movement on the ball from the inside out position.
Talking about movement, the curve of that ball. It's hard to tell on screen, but the amount of spin that these athletes put on the ball and how it changes the trajectory and the shaping.
Yep.
It's either flying away from you or flying into your body after it bounces.
When you talk about that spin, Cam, and that's where the game has grown so much because I've been playing this game for way too many years, close to 20 years now. And, you know, when the game keeps evolving, 10 years ago, stop trying to spin the ball. It's not ping pong. Well, now you get these high-level tennis players like a McGuffin and a Zane Evertu who hit so much spin on the ball. That is part of the game now.
Absolutely.
And technology, too, has played a part in that. These paddle manufacturers creating a little more gritty surface. You're able to control the ball a little more.
I know a lot of people have been talking about that Selkirk paddle. Tyson McGuffin's using a little different of a look. It's actually got a hole in the middle of it if you look closely.
Yes, it does.
Maybe working with the aerodynamics.
Yes.
On the other side, of course, the Franklin paddle in the hand of J.W. Johnson. Not only sideline to sideline, but keeping that ball about 6 inches from the baseline.
And just great movement by Johnson, getting McGuffin in every which way, every spot on the court.
Speaking of inside out, JW doing his best impression.
Yes, he's trying to give Tyson McGuffin a taste of his own medicine.
How do you like them apples? And he keeps it in.
Oh, McGuffin firing up the crowd right there. The jump Ernie right there going cross court. Johnson trying to get out of the way of it. He does, but ball lands in.
McGuffin still on top, 4-2 in the deciding game. This is a double elimination bracket. Winner will move on. Loser gets another shot. I think Tyson surprised himself there. And just long. I mean, he nearly lost his footing in the middle of that.
Yeah, I mean, he hit an off-balance backhand cross court. We almost ended up on his backside. Perfect. People stand on their feet and are balanced and would pray and hope to get a shot like that.
A little bit of extra motion there from JW as he hits that one. Kind of still sliding to his left on his finish.
That point was dictated because Johnson let that ball bounce. So it allowed McGuffin to finish coming in and able to take control of that point.
JW still trying to work that forehand side now of Tyson McGuffin. As it looks like JW is going to take a little bit of a timeout here. Or, excuse me, a change ends here.
Thank you so much for coming.
As we've hit the 6-point mark in the game to 11.
Yeah, JW gets the free timeout here, so doesn't need to burn one. That's always that difference. You know, he could have took one at 5, doesn't. And I don't want to take one there either because you're getting the free one.
Yep.
Keep it for later and see what you can use. But
that's all right, ladies. Don't be afraid to get down. Get all the way down. Go ahead.
JW Johnson met John Sincola first round, picked up the victory 11-8, 11-8. So just his second round matchup here versus Tyson McGuffin. There's a little funky chicken happening out in the stands.
Kathy Dimitri, always.
Johnny Cash, too, of all things.
I know, right?
Funky chicken and Johnny Cash all in the same sentence.
Can't make this stuff
things,
up, Cam.
Things that only happen at Margaritaville.
You can't make this stuff up.
McGuffin trying to work his way into the kitchen line, and he does now.
What am I doing?
And asks himself the question, what are you doing?
I mean, that's just great poise by the youngster right here. Just to stay in this, not get too crazy, but wait for the right opportunity, as you saw right on that Selkirk replay.
2-6.
Tyson McGuffin pointing that ball just wide. But see, this is where JW Johnson, his ability to just control his emotions and play just so steady and so calm. I think this can serve him well in a moment like this. Maybe you're trailing by 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
And then he can start to do things like that. Maybe get on a little bit of a run, build some momentum. But he never gets too high and he never gets too low.
Yeah, it's so hard to kind of say I like that or I don't like that. It's good in certain situations, but in other situations I think it's bad. It's kind of hard to go pick one side or the other.
Well, right now it's working for him. Point number 3. I think everyone has kind of their unique ability to address this game in their own way, right? And for JW, it's just that steadiness. I've seen so many athletes, regardless of the profession. I am not one of them. I am the anger, emotive type.
I would never have guessed that. I never saw that before.
Great save. Nice little flip to the backhand. And it just lands in bounds. I think McGuffin shocked himself. I'm not even sure what we can call that shot.
I have no idea.
We might have to make a name up. If you're tuning in, you know where to find us. Social media, let us know what you call that shot.
I don't know.
We're making up names as we go.
Let's back to you and your issues on the court.
Nah, this ain't about me.
You're just very competitive. That's all it is. Wow. I mean, it's such a hard, but he makes it look so easy right there. But by the way he takes that ball out of the air, he's reaching so far out in front to get that ball. I'd say 70% of people are going to let that ball bounce. Mm-hmm. But he's so skilled to take that ball out of the air and do something with it.
Well, another element, too, to be able to do that is you have to be able to read that it's going to be high enough for you to be able to do that. And a lot of athletes, they misread the ball, right?
Exactly. They'll try and do too much with it. That's a good hard return from Johnson off his backhand, too.
Yeah, a little bit lower to the net. Not as much time for McGuffin to kind of shuffle his feet around.
3-6.
3-6. Open. And Tyson McGuffin's there. That's all you, Tyson McGuffin. A point well fought for and well earned. The score will remain 6-3.
He does all that work and doesn't even get a point.
I
Just
know.
gets a side out.
He wins the rally.
He does. He does.
And that's exactly what I thought might take place after something like that. McGuffin goes, all right, I got the ball back. I'm going to save a little bit of energy here before starting off that serve, looking for point number 7, inching his way through the deciding game.
And we talked about that before. We talked about it a couple times this weekend already, Cam, is that offensive timeout, right?
Yeah.
You have a very elongated point. You've really worked hard. Tyson worked really hard and earned that side out. He wants to focus on his serve. So take the timeout, regroup, catch your breath, and come back in fresh here so that you know you're 100% when you want to score. You can score here.
Speaking of coming in fresh, Cameron Irwin alongside Dominic Catalano. We've had a blast already. I know, Dom, you've been out here for a little while to take a look at that Selkirk paddle. There's the hole in it.
Looks like a smiley face, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the happiest paddle out there.
It is. It is. And right now it actually is because McGuffin is up 6-3 in his third game.
Let's hear a round of applause for these competitors.
6-3.
And you know what? He set that up so beautifully, just unable to execute. Pushed McGuffin all the way to this other sideline.
7-3.
Just a punch backhand volley as on his front foot as he comes up. So good, so aggressive.
8-3.
Net not in the favor of J.W. Johnson. Just 2 away now is the number 2 seed.
9-3.
Winner takes on Zane Navratil.
It's a nice ball there from Johnson.
Well, it's challenging, right? And you've got to be able to hit pretty aggressive angles. So it's that balance between keeping the ball in bounds, but still taking a little bit of risk on the sidelines. And speaking of risk on the sidelines, it pays off.
Watch this right down the line. Able to keep that in on the backhand side. Now McGuffin has 1 timeout left. I don't suspect he's going to let J.W. Johnson get maybe 1, maybe 2 more points before he'd use that.
Great flip there.
He doesn't need it.
Precision off the paddle of Tyson McGuffin. JW staying in it.
Sun trying to peek out here on championship court.
And there's that balance. Great leave there by Tyson McGuffin.
And that's the hard part because that ball is middle return for Johnson hit his 3rd. He can't hit that as hard going sideline to sideline. He's got to take something off that.
Calling that ball wide. So McGuffin now at match point. Number 2 seed.
The fans hear it. The fans feel it right here.
10-4.
So after dropping game number 1, McGuffin rallies his way back against J.W. Johnson. Scores 11-3. 11-3 and 11-4. McGuffin with the victory. He will now face Zane Navratil. It's been a phenomenal match here on championship court number 1 of the Margarita USA Pickleball National Championships.
Margaritaville USA Pickleball National.
The Pro XR Pickleball Paddle answers the age-old question of how to get paddle speed and control with the same paddle and one grip, and this is it. Pro XR gives you more spin, greater control, and quicker reloads on every shot in the game, because you always have that constant feel for that leverage and control and paddle speed that we're all looking for. Pro XR is the most revolutionary technology in pickleball.
Match point, it's all up to me. Nothing can get in my way. And when they ask, what are you gonna do next? I'll say, I'm going.
We're going to Margaritaville!
You can go to Margaritaville too. Visit MargaritavilleResorts.com.
Back here on championship court with Tyson McGuffin here at the Margaritaville USA Pickleball National Championships presented by Pickleball Central. Tyson, I mean, do you like going 3? Do you like just losing that first one and having to go the last 2? You're a crowd entertainer. We know you love being on center court. Are you just elongating your time, or what's going on?
These guys are only getting younger, and I'm only getting older. So this is definitely not the plan. No, if I could finish these guys in 2, I would gladly do that. But kudos to J-Dub. Let's give this guy a round of applause. 18 or 19 years old, and he's going to be kicking my ass in no time. He's actually already kicked my ass this year.
All right, so you go down 11-3 in the first game. He was pretty much on fire that first game. What did you change between games 1 and game 2? You flipped the script on him and you win 11-3.
Yeah, I started going for more on the serve, getting a bit more depth. Caught him late coming in. I was able to drive the third ball a bit better too and find some better spacing. It seemed like in the first game I wasn't getting enough on the serve. He was putting the return pretty deep, and I was kind of pinned in the backhand corner. Really couldn't find space. Hit a forehand, but found some Ferrari forehands in that third game. It's all about Ferrari forehands.
And it seemed like you also played a little more cat-mouse at the end right there. You got back to your bread and butter. Is that something you're looking to do here coming up against Zane Navratil in the winner's bracket final?
Yeah, against Z-Man, definitely have to mix it up. Previously, I've been missing way too many returns, so I think big thing for me is just neutralizing the return, defending the fourth, and then anytime I'm passing, yeah, I think mix up the cat and mouse, mix up the third ball, but I think I have to be a bit more selective with my drive against Z-Man.
All right, it's going to be a fun one coming up shortly. But right now, Irina Tereshchenko, Jill Braverman coming up next. Congratulations, Tyson. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have that Jill Braverman, Irina Tereshchenko here at the Margaritaville USA Pickleball National Championships.